Friday TV. Joel Friday TV is going to be live as well right after Hake today. It is Thursday. I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Thursday, May 30th, AD 2024. Live on Rumble and other platforms. What's up, IG crew? What is up? Hopefully Facebook crew, YouTube. What's up, Costin? Costin? Is it Costin or Costin? Nice. I didn't get to the Pope Francis yesterday. I said I was going to get to him, and of course I didn't. That is quite common if you're a regular Hake listener for me to say, oh, I think I'll cover this, and I don't cover it. What a mess. So Pope Francis, he took over the headlines yesterday and the day before over the, did he say the Italian word for tree? Terrible. They don't say whether he said it or not, and good for them for not saying that. But bad for them for apologizing and using the H-ophobic word. The word H-ophobic as if that's a real thing. Give me a break. So, he had the little meeting because they have a problem with not morally straight people in their seminaries and in their priesthood and all that stuff. Terrible. It's happening all over. Based Pope Francis. Yes, indeed. He was joking about it according to some leakers. Leakers. Terrible. And what else did I want to cover today? There was something else that I wanted to touch on. Oh, yeah, Caitlin Clark. She keeps on losing. I like her, though. I am a fan because she's a real star. I'm laughing, but it's kind of true. Whose arms are bigger, Hake's or Caitlin Clark's? JLP said Hake has muscles today. So anyway, all that and your calls, guys. If you'd like to call in, I do hope to get to you. I'll try to get straight to you. Okay? And your super chats, I was remiss in not getting to all of your super chats. Popcorn's Thump Keg, always with the thought-provoking and Hake-provoking coffees. And others, Carver, oh my goodness, Carver. Carver makes me blush. He's funny, though. But I disavow his chats for the sake of, I don't know, my standing with other people. Anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Nice shirt today. LOL. Lots of laughs. Thank you, Megan. Indeed. Hake fixated on WNBA chick. What the? Thank you. Yeah, I'm wearing my Zion. It says Zion. Because I am a Zionist. Or am I? I don't know. I am a JLP-based BB Zionist. And some of you guys don't think BB's based. I use the term loosely, perhaps. Hake with a Black Sun t-shirt on. Yeah, it's... Zion is a national park. Do you like the Mormons? Do you like them? I love the Mormons. If I love anybody. I grew up... There were a couple of Mormons at my school that I knew growing up. They were white, too, by the way. We were like, oh, these big families, these Mormons. And we had a relatively big family, but not quite as big as theirs. 5 kids. I was one of 5. But the Mormons think that the Promised Land is America. Right? And so they called their national park Zion. I presume that's what it means. That's why they called it Zion. It's a national park. So you guys are thinking, oh, hey, Zionist. And yeah, I guess I am. In the ilk of JLP, Jesse Lee Peterson, my perhaps third or fourth favorite Jew, by the way, and Base B, my maybe sixth favorite Jew, I forget. Not in the spirit of that unchristian guy who's Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, whatever his name is, whatever his title is, Chuck Schumer. I'm not a Chuck Schumer Zionist. I'm a JLP Zionist. As Zionists go, is JLP a Zionist? Is he? I think we'll get nods from from Hassan. Anyway, it's not whatever. It's not important. It's just fun. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun until you lose your country. That's already happened. It's already happened. So let us just be lighthearted. So, before I get to calls, guys, let me tell you about the Pope Francis. Never apologize. Lame-o Pope Francis. Is he a liberal? Or is he lame? I mentioned on Monday, I believe. Was it Monday? No. Probably Tuesday and Wednesday about this story. Deep down, he's not a liberal, but he just... Oh, JLP is not deep down a Zionist, but he just says it for the vibes. Yeah, because he's not controlled by his audience. The squeaky wheels of the audience, anyway. So he'll be like, forget you guys, I'm a Zionist. Anyway, Pope Francis. Is Pope Francis a Zionist? The Catholics, the best Catholics are not Zionists, I notice. And that's the one thing they disagree with JLP on, is Israel. You know, JLP used to be kind of friends with that guy, or still is probably, the guy who ran for president. Remember that guy? Pat? Yeah, Pat Buchanan. Oh, yeah. He's talked to him a number of times. Pope Francis, or his spokesman, apologizing for what he supposedly said about so-called gay, so-called men. Oh, lame. 87-year-old pontiff, whatever pontiff means. I gather that it just is another word for pope. He issued an apology, or his spokesman issued an apology. CNN is very fake news, by the way. CNN says it was for using a slur, but they never admitted to using a slur. Yeah. Italian media on Monday quoted unnamed Italian bishops. This is from the far left Associated Press, I believe. Yeah, AP, so-called news. Extremists, off the deep end. Radical, pro-radical homosexual. AP. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the AP article. Apologizes after being quoted by leakers using vulgar leakers who went to the evil media, who are the enemy of the people. Trump knows it, but do these Italian Catholic bishops know it? Apparently not, if they're Italian. Shout out to the Italians. Hey. About gay men. Talk about propaganda. One, they're not gay. And two, they're not men. But these far left extremist radicals, AP, credulously call them gay and credulously call them men in a talk about the ban on so-called gay priests. Yesterday, okay, so here's the Italian media had on Monday quoted unnamed Italian bishops, anonymous cowards, because they know they're not supposed to leak evil. Bishops, not priests, whatever those things are. I don't know what priests are or bishops. In reporting that Francis jokingly used the term haggotness. Whoa, that was too clear. I disavow that. Pardon my... That's what they wrote. They wrote it in this article. Normally you would be like, censor it? But yesterday CNN report it had translated as, because it's in Italian, right? Let me search. The Italian word is frociaggine. Frociaggine. Which CNN says translates to tree. I'm coughing when I say it because I don't want to say the whole word because you're not supposed to say that word on streams, I don't think. So he had jokingly used that term, too much tree or ness in the around here. We can't be having this, said Pope Francis. He was speaking in Italian during the encounter with these bishops, who then leaked to the media, evil bishops. He'd used the term in reaffirming the Vatican's ban on allowing radical homosexuals, so-called men, to enter the seminaries and be ordained priests. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni said Pope Francis was aware of the reports and recalled that the Argentine Pope, he's Argentinian, or Argentine, who had made outreach to LGBTQ+, so-called Catholics, a hallmark of his papacy, his being popeness. He has long insisted there was room for everyone in the Catholic Church. You may recall 10, 11 years ago, he's like, if they love each other, who am I to judge? Something like that. But you never know what he actually says because he doesn't speak English. And I don't speak Italian. I understand a little bit of Spanish, which is basically the same as Italian, I guess. You can understand each other if you're speaking Spanish and you're an Italian listener. But here's what Vatican spokesmale Matteo, two T's, I think, Bruni, stated. The Pope never intended to offend or express himself in, listen to this, he says the word homophobic terms. Why is a Christian, because Catholics are Christian, right? Some of you guys say Catholics are not Christian. Is he Christian or Catholic? But shout out to the Catholics. Shout out, not shut out. Why is a Christian using such a term as homophobic? This sounds just like the world. That's a worldly fake term. That's not a real term. As if he's scared of the gays. He's like he seems pretty, well, anyway. I was going to say he seems pretty soft himself. He's all friendly to the gays. Being all nice, which is fine. I mean, he should be nice, I guess. It's okay to be nice. Maybe sometimes. Anyway, he extends his apologies, says this Matteo Bruni, spokesman for the Vatican. Vatican is the capital of the Catholic Church. It's in the middle of Italy, I think. Rome. I think. He extends his apologies to those who were offended. I'm sorry you were offended. I'm sorry to offend, never intended to offend or express in homophobic terms. Apologies to those who were offended by the use of the term that was reported by others. With that statement, AP claims that Bruni very carefully avoided an outright confirmation. They call it carefully. An outright confirmation that the Pope indeed had used the term. Think about it. The media is making this big deal and the evil people are making this big deal over a word that this guy used. They're treating him like he's Trump, our greatest president. Because people say, oh, Trump used the term SH whole countries. We don't need to be bringing in people in here from whole countries. Trump is quoted as having said. We don't know if he said it or not, but there was a leakers in the White House. When the White House was partly white on the inside because of our greatest president, Trump. Vatican, the Catholic Church is black on the inside because they have leakers. And they're trying to make the Pope, who's already, I find him unsatisfactory somewhat, perhaps. not to judge him. Make him even worse, make him even weaker. And he fell for it, apparently. Carefully avoided an outright confirmation that the Pope indeed had used the term. Give me a break. Words are more important than actual heart for the evil-hearted people. They want to catch you in your words, just like the Pharisees wanted to catch Jesus in his words. Or the snakes. The snakes in the, in the snake pit too, but among my callers. And not just Joe from Phoenix. Try to catch Hake in his words. You want, says the guy who agreed that most blacks are in jail, not college. Try to catch Hake in his words, not the heart. Not the, how nice he's been to the gays. Everybody says that word behind closed doors, that tree. You know? Everybody. This makes him more personable, like Jesus. Jesus joked around, right, didn't he? Or he said some harsh language sometimes. He did. Because he was real. Not a phony, kiss-up, politically correct, tiptoeing around the gays and the people. Words are more important than the actions of the heart. That's why, as Dennis Prager said, probably in my top 10 favorite Jewish people, by the way, Dennis Prager, top 10 favorite Jews, he said, why is Nazism more hated or maligned by the left than communism, even though communism has killed far, 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 far more people? Because communism sounds nicer. And also they're communists themselves, the media, the academics. They care more about words than actual meaning and actual reality and actions and behavior. Nazism sounds meaner, sounds more harsh. It's more like a manly evil, whereas they're womanly, soft mama evil, if there is such a thing as manly evil, you know? But it's slightly less effeminate in its evil, maybe, than the communism stuff, which is far more destructive. They care about words. Pathetic. In keeping with the Vatican's tradition of not revealing what the Pope says behind closed doors, Bruni also didn't deny that Pope Francis had said the words. The words. Tree. It's not that funny. Shameful. Hake tiptoeing so he doesn't lose his channel. Indeed, I am. That's correct. You have to tiptoe for the sake of my channel. So that's the story on the Pope being lame and apologizing. I call it lame, but whatever. It would be nice. It would be nice. I would really appreciate it if he were to say, yeah, or not to let on, because he has a tradition of what I say behind closed doors, none of your business. But it would be nice to say, hey, let people joke around. Why don't we have the spirit of the freedom of speech? Wouldn't that be nicer? I bet you a lot of the people who are lost in that world, the so-called gays, I bet you a lot of them don't even care. And they're not even pretending to care. A lot of them don't even pretend to care. They're like, that'd be funny if he said it. It'd be like all soft and, oh, that'd be funny if he said it. I would like the Pope even better if he said, we can't have that around here. Because normal people of a normal heart, even if they're all twisted, they appreciate, even like messed up people appreciate, even like perverted people, angry people appreciate realness. That's why Trump brought a lot of people that you wouldn't really normally think would be like Republican or conservative. You know, just genuineness. Terry laughed out loud when she heard it. And she's nice to everybody. So it was funny. So, nice. Let me get to a caller or two, guys. I don't want to get too carried away. Jeff in Louisiana is on the line here. We will get to all of your calls. Thank you, Jeff, for holding. What's up, man?
Hey, man, I never thought I'd be calling in to defend Joe, but I want to ask, what is y'all's problem with it? I mean, I disagree with a lot of what he says, but when a dude calls in, if he's being honest, and he does stuff to help kids out and, show them a way and give them ball practice or games or camping or whatever, that's doing good for the world. That's not bragging. I mean, if you want to talk about bragging, if you want to say that's bragging, you brag on JLP all the time and talk about he's a man of God and stuff. He's doing good to the world. So why do y'all brag on him so bad for that?
It's not that. I mean, a couple of us have brought up that he calls in and toots his own horn about the good he's done in the world, the connections he supposedly has with the government and stuff like that. So I'm with you. I think it's nice that he tries to be a good example to the kids. And we shouldn't be judging him overly harshly for it. I don't know if it's really doing good in the world, like spiritually. The Bible says all of our righteous acts are like filthy rags. So if he's an evil-hearted person, and let's say I too am evil-hearted in my promoting of JLP, I'm just all puffed up on pride, I'm on like Team Jesse, then I'm wrong too. So if Joe or I are evil-hearted, but we're doing like nice things, then it's nice that we're doing those nice things, but it's not any good in the world, really.
But the Bible does preach compassion.
Compassion? Yeah. But compassion isn't what Joe really expresses necessarily. I mean, compassion can be used in the wrong way, Go ahead.
If a kid doesn't have a family and can't afford to get something, can't afford it, put it this way, you can go through, I've never been to LA, but I've seen a lot of stuff on. You go through LA, you can see kids out in the street doing stealing, looting, committing crimes to get by. And if Joe can take one of those kids off the street and get some of summer camping or, whatever he does, I ain't listening to him, whatever he does.
Yeah.
He's helping the world and taking that one kid off the street and showing him the right path to go instead of having to do this and that.
I think it's, are you bringing that up because I talk about how he's tooting his own horn? Or is it because a lot of people, the people who are annoyed at Joe in Phoenix, they're annoyed at not so much that he talks about having helped kids, because he does mention that sometimes, maybe a little bit more frequently than he needs to, but they're more annoyed at his stances, the disagreements with him and
I don't like his stance on Trump and calling in every day. He wants to call him, talking about the white man and how bad the white man is and Trump and all that stuff. I don't agree on that, but I mean, the point is, like people I like listening to Mark, but Mark calls in, and every time he calls in, he got to have something to say about Joe, and he got to go on. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say nothing, but he goes on 30-minute rant how he's devil and how he's this and that, he's communist, all this. Yeah. Dude, if it pisses you off that bad, just turn YouTube please on.
Well, he that's what he suggests everybody do. He wants to do a Hake boycott for all of the minutes.
I'm not talking about boycotting Joe. I'm talking about him himself. I mean, I don't want to listen to Joe. I mean, right. Dude, it's just. I'm with you. That's anger that provokes him to overreact. The thing is that regardless of our skin color, regardless of our clothes we wear, what we do, what everything else, underneath everything, we're all the same.
Yeah, I know. That's what I tried to make the point, that Joe and Mark, they're both angry, and me too. If I'm angry, we're all of the same evil spirit, and we're all just judging each other over worldly and supposedly Christian values.
Underneath it all, we all have a good spirit. Okay, I'm not gonna rag on you, but just say for example, you don't feel up for the homeless or anything. You don't think about nobody. Yep. Or as JLP preaches, y'all don't have no feelings, nothing. But dude, you never know what somebody's been through.
Right. But I don't agree with you that
yeah.
everybody has a good spirit. But you're right that we don't know what people been through. True.
We don't know what anybody's been through. I mean, there's different things in life that everybody's been through. That one, it's just you never know what somebody's going through. You never know what somebody like the homeless veterans. If you ever watch, well, I ain't gonna name drop the artist, but it's a famous artist. You probably seen the video. But there's a guy that does a song about he shows in his video a guy on homeless in the streets in L.A. And in the video, it shows when he's in Iraq fight and he saves a soldier. He's a white guy and saves a black soldier. And then when he comes home, he got PTSD and all that stuff. He's depressed, all that stuff, and he winds up homeless. And the black guy's walking down the street, and he's in a business suit. He recognizes him, he recognizes him, and once he sees him, he knows who he is, and he tries to help him out. I mean, and you never know what somebody's been through, stuff like that.
Right.
So that screws you up, man. You think about if you were sent overseas to fight a war, and they told you to go in and shoot everybody, and you go in there, there's 3 kids in the house. You don't know if they're going to blow you up with a bomb or what.
I know. Kids are not so innocent over there or anywhere, really. True.
No, but it's a judgment call. I mean, you don't know what they've been taught.
Very true. So, exactly.
You never know what somebody's been through. I couldn't imagine having to shoot a kid in the head or either kill him or I die. So, man, I just want to give you something to think about, man. Cause it's not all just people make bad decisions, wrong choices, and everything else. Shit happens in life. That's it.
Yeah, keep it clean. Keep it clean, man. But I got your point. It's a great point, man.
I just want to give Joe a little shout, man. I know I rag on him a lot, but he, if he's done something to help kids out, I mean, the world appreciates that. I mean, he may be lying, he may not, but if he's not lying and he does stuff to help kids out, that's a good thing, man, because a lot of kids need help.
Yeah. JLP has even told him that's good. Because he doesn't let his kids listen to rap music, and he's makes them be responsible and stuff like that. Because he's called in and tooted his horn about helping the kids and being a good example on the Jesse Lee Peterson show too. And Jesse's been like, yeah, that's good. But we both agree that he's wrong about a whole bunch of other stuff because he says the reason that he says that is to bash JLP and Hake. He's like, that's how you make real change, not constantly denigrating black people. Because he pretends that that's what JLP does, which he doesn't.
Man, the last thing I say, and I hang up. I want to tell you, like I told you the other day. The only way you make change is being your own person. You don't listen to nobody else says. You just do what you do what you think's right. Don't listen to everybody else. Don't listen to, because everybody have an influence to you. This is right. This is right. This is wrong. This is wrong. Do what does you. Don't listen to outside influences.
Fair enough, man.
Try to live right. If you think it's right, and if your conscience is clear, you're good.
Well, man, I don't know exactly if that's true, because the Bible says that there were dark times in the Old Testament. Everyone did what was right in their own eyes. And so you could be really deceived. That doesn't, just because your conscience is clean doesn't mean you're innocent. That's in the New Testament and the Old Testament. So you want to be watching yourself and checking yourself and listening to having quote unquote fellowship with one another, like in church and conversations like this.
I understand what you're saying. I do agree with that at some point.
Yeah.
But before we get anything else said, the last thing I'm saying, I'm gonna hang up, is more or less what I'm saying is not knock on you or JLP, but you don't listen to, like, you say everything JLP says is right and you live what he says. That's not the way to live. You do, you take an informed opinion of everything. You look at the world and take an informed opinion of what you think. You don't listen to one person. You don't listen to one person says thoughts aren't real, feelings aren't real, this ain't real, that ain't real, and all that crap. Just do you, man. Well, man, I ain't going to forget anything else. I'm going to let you go because I know it's up your call.
Thank you, Jeff in Louisiana. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Call me again.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Hey. I still had that little bit of tension about hanging up and not getting the click. and not hanging up too early, but not too late. Terrible. I want to get to John in Kentucky. Kentucky John on the line. How you doing, Kentucky John? John in Kentucky?
I'm doing all right, Hake.
Hey.
So man, y'all got a new screener, a guy screening calls?
Yeah, Sean moved on, so we have there's a new man in town.
Yeah, I just talked to him. He said he was racist as well. Y'all all are. Ahmad?
Ahmad.
Got a Muslim on the staff now.
Oh, yeah. A racist Muslim.
Yeah, all y'all are racist, though. All y'all have one thing in common. Y'all hate black people.
Are you racist?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, in the sense that y'all are the hate, no, but I am in favor of my race.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't hate y'all's race.
Nice.
Y'all hate mine.
Oh, that's
but
not
man,
good.
I got two, simple questions that y'all ask all the time.
Do you think that Hassan hates blacks? Before you get to your questions.
Actually, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think Hassan hates blacks.
Right.
I don't get that vibe from him. He actually, he's into like hip hop culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he can dip in and out of whites and black culture.
Are you at all into hip hop culture?
Heck no, I hate it. I can't stand it.
What about the music itself?
What do you mean?
Like
the talent, the clean rap, like talent of it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, man. I'm not. I'm a little old school.
Oh, okay.
I like R&B music.
Oh, right on.
But definitely not today's rap. That stuff is just evil.
Fair enough. Cool.
But man, I got simple questions. First
but Hassan says he's probably the most racist out of everyone here. He's laughing.
I don't know. Well, he put the stamp on it, so I know how to approach him now.
Okay.
Well, Mark is his favorite caller, though.
True, yeah, and he's not even kidding.
I have a question for Mark, too. Like, I want to, throw it out if he's listening.
Okay.
But the first question is a JLP question for you. What is a man? What is your definition of a man?
A man is
a million times.
Yeah, a man is a man who is a man as God made him to be. What do you mean?
Seriously, man.
You're scoffing at my answer. I wanted to avoid saying exactly what JLP says. You want me to say what JLP says, which I agree with?
So your answer is a man is a man.
No. Not just a man is a man.
That's your answer?
A man is a man as God made him to be. Because there's a lot of men who are men, but not as God made us to be,
But that's vague because a gay man will say he's a man, and I don't believe a gay man is a man.
Right, because he's not a man as God made him to be.
Well, I mean, they say they are.
I know that it's vague, and I know that a lot of people claim to know what God made them to be and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm with you. It is a bit open-ended.
It's crap.
It's crap. Dang. Ouch.
I said it's vague as crap.
Oh, okay. JLP says a man is a man who loves God with all his heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else, and loves his neighbor as himself.
Well, I didn't ask JLP. I asked Hake. I wanted to hear.
Well, I like JLP's answer too, so I gave you both.
All right. Well, my next question is going to be, do you consider yourself a man?
Oh, no. I don't think I'm as God made me to be. What do you mean, oh my gosh?
I'm a man. Like, it don't take me 10 seconds to say I'm a man. I'm a man.
That's cool. I get that sense that you think that you're a man.
No, I am a man. My father is a man. He taught me how to be a man. I'm a man.
All right. Well, I do respect the Southern man, and you're a Southern man.
Your phone is choppy too, Hake. You know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Thanks for the heads up. Okay.
And this question, you can answer it, but I want to throw it out for Mark if he's listening, and I'm sure he is because he don't have a life, and he's definitely listening. How do you feel having Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, but him not being a Caucasian, normal white? Because Mark is dead set on society being whites like you and him. Jesus Christ ain't like that in the least bit.
Yeah.
So how does how does he view Jesus?
Yeah.
And I was just listening to JLP's show, and it doesn't sound like JLP holds Christ in high regard. He's just kind of like a regular man.
No, he holds Christ in high regard, but Jesus was a man, and he's like the Son of God.
And he's our king.
Yeah, Christ is king.
He's our king.
Yeah.
So, Mark, if you could answer that question, because you wanted me to answer that little silly question you had, why don't you answer that question for me if you happen to call in today?
Yeah.
And,
so, how does he view? The question is, how do you view Jesus? Jesus being not a normal white when you're all into being into the normal whiteness. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, if he calls in about Joe today, just throw it in on him.
All right, John in Kentucky. Interesting question. And you think you think Jesus?
Huh?
You believe in Jesus, but not under that name, right? Or right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later, John in Kentucky.
All righty. Yeah.
Bye. Before I get back to calls, there is one line open. Brittany Griner is not a WNBA star, but this gal is, but she keeps losing. Caitlin Clark keeps on losing. Did I put the pictures in the folder? CNN, May 29th, yesterday, reported Caitlin Clark makes WNBA history. WNBA is Women's National Basketball Association. Owned by the NBA, subsidized by the NBA, I think. In Indiana Fever loss to the LA Sparks. I feel so silly saying these team names. They don't sound normal or strong or cool or manly at all. I mean, they're not supposed to sound manly or mannish. Fever, Sparks. But look at her. That's the person. We're looking at a picture of Caitlin Clark shooting a basketball. A Wilson basketball, by the way. A photograph, and she got that, little bit of horsey face. I like a horsey faced woman. I have no judgment against it. A little bit of a farmer's tan. They're nice. And her arms are bigger. I almost said her arms are bigger than Hake's. Whose arms are bigger, Hake's or hers? I'm not going to lift up my sleeves, though. Not going to lift up my sleeves. But, okay, maybe I will a little bit. My arms might be a little bit bigger. Except she's a lot taller. She might be taller than me. There, she got a deal with the Wilson for signature basketball. This woman is a nice smile, right? She's like 22 or something like that. I don't know. She's like a niece to me, okay? A niece. Like a niece or a nephew. She's like a niece. And I don't know what type of white she is. She was playing basketball with the boys as a kid. Her father put her in with the boys. Imagine you have to play with a girl. You have to hold back. This is the woman. This is the gal who. Go back to that first one. Good for her getting deals, Wilson deal and other deals. Look at that face. That's the face that this evil woman from last week on The View, we mentioned it on the J. Peterson show, and maybe the American Anchor Baby might have covered it on Nick's stream. That's the person about whom Sonny Hostin said there's pretty privilege. I might venture to say that Sonny Hostin is objectively a little prettier than Caitlin Clark. And Sonny Hostin is, she's a bit old and mixed, But anyway, pretty privileged. That seemed like she was acting like she was kind of implying that Brittany Griner's not pretty. Brittany Griner's fairly pretty. Her face? I'm not talking about her hair or her, big old body. It's not big, but tall, broad-shouldered body. But, Brittany Griner wasn't... I don't think of her as, ugly in the face. And this woman is, just a slight bit homely. They're both youthful. It's nice. They're mildly attractive, but come on. Sonny Hostin is 2 years younger than Hake. Really? No. Carver's trolling me. Anyway, she keeps on losing, but she's, talented. Fun to watch still. And just like Hake, I call myself a WNBA fan now, even though I've never watched any of it. Well, I've only seen like bits, because when you guys make fun of, I think I saw was it Anchor Baby that played it? All of this, like them missing layups and stuff. It's like Hake shooting baskets and like missing all the layups and things. Horseface is so endearing. Yeah, Nick showed it. Oh, not on his show. Oh yeah, that's right. I saw it off air. But they have promoted her so much in the media, and I'm susceptible to media propaganda. I'm susceptible. I know that. So I've begun to like her. Even though I know the media is evil and I know that they're promoting her, but there's like a bit of a conflict. She's an actual star. And Joelle Friday is with me, by the way. She plays competitor Reese June 1st. Oh, Joelle Friday has it on the calendar. He's also a fan of the WNBA. Joelle Friday's with me. Maybe I better check myself. No, we're kidding around. Joelle said it best. When women try to be men, their features change. Yeah, I don't like it. Like JLP said, it was never taken seriously. It's fun if a woman is pretty, but also like athletic. Yes, that's cool. It's kind of like playing with your kid, I like that. I like for a gal not to be all pathetic and unable to do anything. I like for a gal to be, somewhat, whatever. That's nice. And so, anyway, we wish her well. Are their basketballs smaller or something? Why are their basketballs white and orange rather than completely all orange? Whatever. They are smaller, says Hassan. That's why they miss, because the ball is smaller. They couldn't dunk. I can't dunk either. Anyway, she keeps losing, but I totally like her. I don't know her. She's probably gonna pull a Taylor Swift on me, and come out all overcompensating and liberal and anti-white and stuff like that, anti-man. But we will wait and see. Cancel those words, right? Cancel those words. Thank you, Hassan. Let me get to Thomas in San Jose, California, on the line here. Thomas, thank you for calling and holding there. What is up? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, James? I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, we spoke the other day, and I dropped a comment, and I was saying originally that I was going to carry on with the dogs and everything and the connection to Adam and Eve. I think I'll put that on the back burner, though,
okay,
for today. It was actually interesting listening to the first couple of calls when I was on hold, and then, especially listening to John, and then hearing everything from Mark. So, I call about Adam today and his likeness. And I believe that with both those individuals, they may not like what I have to say, but I'll just pass on the information. They can do with it what they will. So I guess to start off, just to make sure we're on the same page, when you see different groups of people, like the Greeks, for example, right? Like the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Lebanese, the Israelis, would you consider any of those peoples white? White?
You said Greeks, Egyptians, and Jews, did you say?
Like people from Israel, people from Lebanon, Assyrian. Yeah, like all those people lumped together. They are all three of those groups are distinct, but they're also similar. Would you consider any of them?
I've heard that Greeks are white, But
You think they are?
the others, I don't know. Maybe they are. They're not Anglos, but they are maybe
Yeah.
sort of white. Sometimes
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
surprisingly
yeah.
lighter skinned, and sometimes they're not, though.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I would say no, though. I definitely wouldn't have them akin to say like Anglos or Scandinavians. They are different people.
Including
what
even
about
Greeks?
the Italians?
You're even including Greeks in that as not white, not normal white anyway.
What about Italians?
No. I'm asking you. Let me finish your Greeks question. The GQ. We need to wrap up the GQ first before we get to the IQ, the Italian question. What do you think of Greeks? You said you literally don't think of Greeks as white?
Necessarily, it's part of the continent of Europe.
Okay.
But no.
Okay.
No,
wow.
I wouldn't.
You're harsh.
They're Mediterranean
Nazi.
people.
I like it. No, I'm kidding around.
Really, if you think about it, and then you ask other people, like, the Mediterranean people are different. It is a continent of Europe, but they are distinctly different people from, say, like the Germans, the Franks, the Anglos, the Scandinavians. But you can call them white. Yeah, you know what I mean. And just
Greece
like
was
too,
modern Greece. 2012, I think it was one of the first European countries to go bankrupt. It was literally bankrupt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like 12 years ago.
My thought is every problem with every civilization, there's nothing new under the every problem with that. It goes back to the fact that nations turning their backs on God. So I don't know exactly what the Greeks did, but and as far as turning their backs on God, but that has to be the result.
Very interesting, man. So to answer your Italian question, yeah, Italians they're a little bit different. They're a little bit, just as you said about the Greeks, same thing with the Italians. Something's a little different about them. Some of them do, they're passing, they're white passing, but they're a little bit different.
The northern, I would say more the northern Italians. And again, there is diversity within that group. Like people from up in up north, like Milan, Venice, are different from the Sicilians.
In what sense? But they're white. All of these groups, all of these people, individually and as a country, especially Greece and Italy, they're white enough to be hated. They're white enough to be overrun with. They're civilized. You know, so in a sense they are. They're white and they're under attack, and even Israel, white enough to be hated and definitely under attack from anti-white people, including among themselves, because they have an anti-white. Many of them have an anti-white attitude, or brainwashing, or spirit.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm kind of a living example of that. Like I told you, like my ancestry is mixed, but
mixed what?
I definitely. By look, I wear a year-round tan. I'm basically mocha in the winter, and I'm caramel in the summer. I'm brown enough to be down, but I'm still white enough to be wrong, especially when I speak my mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, because you're partly Spanish. Or Hispanic, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also I've got a splash of Middle Eastern in there, Saudi Arabian, Arabian. But, hey, no, I wear the cross around my neck.
But even
singing from my heart, right?
Even Persians, you know, the Iranian people?
They're like the original Aryans, actually.
Oh, caller is low, says Joel. Yeah, they're well, I don't know if they're original Aryans, but they are part Aryan or something. And I remember, like, Richard Spencer was all mad because Trump was going to bomb their historic sites or something and destroy their white history.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
But that also comes
What's
to
the point of this, though? What is the point of, are they white?
Between white and the difference between, like, white and culture, because there's a difference between white and Western. But anyway, no, we're having a good conversation, but it definitely got sidetracked a little bit.
True.
I was calling about Adam.
So I like to joke around that, are Italians white or are Irish really white? But they're definitely white enough to be hated. I also know that they're into their culture more than normal whites, you know, the Italians and the Irish. and even the Greeks, they're more into their individual country. Even when they come here, they're still into being Italian American, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the Anglos and the Germans in this country, I think they become American.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in the 20th century, and then we'll get back to Adam, I promise. But yeah, one thing I think we both agree is the cultures did do better about assimilating within a few generations. But you are right, especially when it comes to the Italians and the Irish. But a lot of times they did, within a couple of generations, became indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Same thing with the German Americans, the Polish Americans, so on and so forth. But yeah, some cultures had a little bit more of a harder time with that. I definitely agree.
Indeed. Yeah.
They're into more the old country than being American. Yeah. But
And
anyway,
the ones
so
who
back
are
to
the
Adam.
ones, it seems like it's the ones that are more matriarchal. You know, where the mama is kind of in charge.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
I feel like that's among even the Hispanics, even though the Hispanics supposedly the mother serves, but she's sort of also a god, and oftentimes they're single mothers. And then
Yeah.
mama spirit big in among the Armenians, who are oftentimes they're sort of white, and the Italians.
Yeah.
And
Well, Armenia is right by the Caucasus Mountains. Yeah.
yeah.
Think about it. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason why I brought up those groups in the first place, I think when you look at those groups, not one above the other, just those groups in general, I think you're looking at the earliest man. Now,
Really?
I'm biblical. I know. Yeah. Well, I'm biblical, and it's definitely my belief now. But I've never completely discredited it. So they say we're roundabout, where modern day Israel is where it started, right? Do you agree?
I guess
where man
so.
started. That's where Adam and Eve started.
I mean, that's in the Bible, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they
Science
kind
is
of talk
trying to
about
say
the Fertile Crescent and stuff like that.
Yeah. They try to, modern science will try to say sub-Saharan Africa. No, those peoples are really ancient, but they're not the beginning. So the beginning happened there. And when you really think about it and you look at the globe, that area of the Middle East is literally the crossroads of all the major continents on that hemisphere, at least, right? You got Europe right next to you. You got Asia right next to you, and Africa, Egypt right next to you. So I believe it started all right there. And then you look into Scripture, God brought Adam from the earth. So you think about his skin color, the color of the earth, brown, right?
You think so?
Maybe not dark brown, but I don't think sand either, because he wasn't made from the sand. It's been written that God made him from the earth. So I believe Adam was brown, and whether he looked more Egyptian, Israeli, or Greek, I think sometimes you could take different peoples from all those cultures, flip-flop them around, and they look the same. You know what I mean? So
that's funny.
It's I think it's kind of the same thing with Christ. You don't want to get hung up too much on his likeness, but you just look at the people from those areas, and then you can kind of get a conglomerate. So when I picture Adam in my mind, I think of someone who could possibly have, you could throw them in Greece, whether ancient or modern, and they'd fit in Egypt, Israel, Lebanon, so on and so forth.
What possesses you to think so deeply about this?
This all was revealed to me by God in prayer. I've been deep in prayer. When we first started speaking a few weeks ago, you asked me about this. Yeah, of course, you don't have to believe me or anything. I really appreciate you taking my call and giving me the platform. But yeah, no, it's all, I give all glory to the Father for all my knowledge.
How do you know this is true, though?
It just popped into my mind.
But popping into your mind doesn't mean that it was revealed to you by God?
That's when it only is. I didn't hear no voice.
Lord.
The voiceless voice. I'm serious. You don't have to. Hey, you don't have to. So I'll give you this. I'm giving you information.
That's not what voiceless voice means. That's not even practical knowledge. What's practical about quote unquote knowing this or having this be revealed to you by God?
I didn't go into it wanting to know this. I went deep
in prayer. Because nobody wants. Nobody normal even wants to know this, and you're spreading this stuff around. Lord have mercy. Is your IQ higher than 185? Hello?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was just a question from the chat. No, man, you're crazy. That's okay.
No, I'm just asking, and I'm not really the type to answer questions with questions, but what is it that I'm saying that comes off crazy?
This whole topic.
Adam's likeness, but
Yep.
that's where the earliest man came from.
Who
so
cares?
I'm saying that God made him from the earth. Okay. That's what I think. That's
No.
what I think. I
Who
think
cares? Who cares? Why should we care? Why do you care? Why are you excited to share this if it's all glory to God?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm excited, but I do enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, I enjoy talking. I definitely enjoy talking with you. But who cares? Why should we care? Why should we care Adam's likeness?
I'll get to that. So if there could be one thing that may or may not give some insight to certain callers, because one of the main themes of your show, James, and I think you know this, is the black and white dichotomy. And I guess if anything, perhaps it could shed some light from people from both sides of the polarization, like Mark and then John. You know,
Is this
I don't know what they would want to do with that information that the brown people came first.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't even matter.
And the whites came after. It doesn't. You're right.
So then how come you're all into it? No, like, you can, common sense says that nobody need be taking their self-worth or whatever, if you will, from all that, from this physical creation.
Just talking.
It's not just talking. You said that God told you this. Why would God tell you this?
Tell me to tell anybody. He revealed this information.
Why?
I decided to call you.
How do you know that?
Why.
So you don't know how he did it,
prayer.
or you just say it popped into your head when you were praying, and you think that that's the voiceless voice. Where did you learn voiceless voice was God revealing to you?
Well, I heard Jesse say that a number of times.
See, so God didn't even tell you how he talks to you. You heard Jesse say it, and so you took that and... No, hold on. Let me ask you. You heard Jesse say the voiceless voice, and so something popped into your head, and you didn't hear a voice, so you took that as God telling you. You had this, Adam was from the earth. He was brown. And whatever else that you said he looked like these somewhat Middle Eastern, somewhat European people. He looked like that. And
Here too.
And therefore God, that's from God, because Jesse said it's a voiceless voice. And maybe the Bible might say something like that. That's...
Yeah, well, the Bible does say that, and Jesse did refer to the Bible. So I can't tell you exactly how long I've been listening to the JLP show.
No, I didn't ask you how long. I just said that it's... that's okay, man. You're just crazy.
No, yeah, maybe I am.
No, not maybe.
Oh, come on. Oh, come
on. I am on. I'm with you, man. I'm telling you, you got to check yourself.
About Adam's likeness, or is it just everything, the aggregate of everything that we've talked about?
Don't even try to figure it out.
Today. Is it just today?
Oh, no. I think that there was a sense of it, and it's come clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I still like you. Don't be sad.
No, I'm not sad. No, it's
nice.
Okay.
Call me again, man. It's good to hear from you. Thomas in San Jose.
Will do. God bless, James.
You too, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Bye. Terry in Oregon on the line here. Terry, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? Uh-oh.
No woman is good.
Oh, no.
Did you grow up calling yourself good when you were asked, how are you? Or did you start to do that later in adulthood or high school?
I don't know. I don't know when it started.
Yeah, because when I was asked,
how
how are you? I was told, I would say, oh, fine. And then later, like in high school for me, because I'm in my 40s, you know, I started hearing people say, I'm good. Or college anyway. Anyway, the English language taking a dive.
I feel terrible now. Oh, man.
Anyway, go ahead.
I walked right into it. It's so interesting that Thomas was talking about the races, and I wanted to talk about white people with you, maybe dissect about the differences between the whites.
Okay.
I don't know, I've been thinking about it a little bit this week and
cool.
Kind of chuckling to myself about it.
Did you think that Thomas, first, do you think Thomas is crazy? Do you agree with me? By crazy,
yeah, we're all crazy though.
What does crazy mean? I think crazy, because crazy, when you call somebody crazy, that's like a scary thought that you're crazy. Because it's like a baffling thing. But it's a simple thing, I think. What does crazy mean? You believe stuff that's not true. Because believing stuff that's not true is crazy.
I had a friend tell me it's lacking insight.
Fair enough. And
if you don't have the ability to, have insight, that's when you know you're crazy.
What's insight?
Insight about yourself. Just an ability to examine yourself and take criticism or to criticize oneself or to even question the self. If you're not even questioning what you're doing ever.
Yeah, good.
Crazy.
Fair enough. Yeah. So when I said, is he crazy? You said, we're all crazy. Is that to make him feel better for being crazy?
Yeah, I'm trying to mama spirit him a little bit.
Yeah, because although it is true, he's on another level of crazy, and you don't want to make him feel better. You don't want him to feel bad, but you don't want him to feel fine about being crazy and just go on in his craziness.
I mean, I feel like I've had moments where I've had revelations, come to me, or I've just had things revealed to me that maybe weren't obvious before, or I've made connections. And
did they turn out to be crazy, or did they turn out to be true and useful?
Both.
Oh, so sometimes they turned out to be crazy, and sometimes they've been true and useful.
Yeah, sometimes they turned out to be, nothing I needed to worry about, or just, sometimes they were useful.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I'm thinking, just, I understand having a revelation and thinking it's from God, maybe. I understand that. I don't think that's completely crazy.
It's crazy if you're thinking that it's from God and it's just some crazy idea. That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, we all can relate because for example, like you get with a girl, or you get with a guy, or I get with a girl, or somebody gets with somebody, and then you're like trying to make it work. That's crazy. That's like life destructive crazy, right? But so too is
it definitely can be, yes.
What's that? Yeah,
I said it definitely can be, yes.
Yeah. So, same thing with this. He's thinking that it's going to help the blacks and whites realize that they're not so important, I guess, which is a nice thought. His heart's in the right place. Anyway, what did you want to say about this?
Less important than the Middle Easterners? Is that what he's saying? Or
yeah, he's saying it's not black or white, it's brown or olive. That's the first man. As if anybody has any bragging rights as to what Jesus was or what Adam was. Who cares?
I concur. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't think about these things. I don't think these stories are meant to be,
yeah,
observed that way. Okay, let me see. I want to talk about the different kinds of whites, because you have this little funny thing that you do where you say not normal whites.
Yeah.
And at first it got to me. I was like hurt You know, how did I get my feelings? I was like, oh, I'm not a real white.
Oh, because
Not that
you're
it matters.
Irish, huh? Are you Irish?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not.
Mostly, yeah.
I didn't say not a real white. I said not a normal white. But normal,
Normal
when
white.
you're
normal
not
white.
normal, that does sound kind of hurtful. Not to be normal.
Hey, I'm, you know, it is what it is. But I've been thinking about it though. I understand why you say not normal white though, about like the Irish or about like other certain white or Europeans, if you will, because they're not normal compared to like, you know, if we're talking about, I guess the history of the USA.
Right.
You know,
Yep,
the
exactly.
difference between like the descendants of the Mayflower people and
Yeah, it was Anglo-Saxons.
and the Germans, and the different Europeans that came through. There's definitely some differences.
Yeah, that's all I mean. And
so-
it's but you can still be white on the inside, which is more important than even being white on the outside, obviously, because white on the inside doesn't necessarily mean that you're in line with with all things Anglo-Saxon, but you are clean in your heart and have no resentment. Not necessarily. You just want to be how you were raised, and only throw away the parts of your raising that are useless.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not of the opinion. You know how like atheists will say Muslims, who were raised Muslims in the Middle East, they're not following Christ, so they're just going to hell. Well, the Bible says that if you follow the law given to you by God in your heart, then they are following the law. So they don't necessarily need to. They don't need to jump all the way over to Jesus, to the word Jesus. They should just follow as they see. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Each person should remain where they are.
Too.
What's that? Go ahead.
I've had this come up with people too, where they talk about that, like, you know, is Christ the only way to heaven? And I mean, I think to me, yes, for me,
right.
Definitely. But I think when we talk about God and like, I knew God before I knew about Christ. You know, I had that connection with the living God. I didn't know what to call it, and I think that God is close to.
And maybe it was through Christ, but you didn't even. It was probably through Christ, and you didn't even really realize it.
Maybe. I mean, you know, I did.
If it really was a connection.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of. I don't know. I'm sure I had people praying for me, you know, when I was a little child, and hoping that I'd find my way. I don't know, or just being born in the West and being an inheritor of the Christian,
right?
Faith. I guess. I don't know.
Because I think I have a feeling that the intellectual Christians are so hung up on you have to declare Jesus Lord, all that stuff. And they'll honor him with their lips, but their hearts are far from him, as the Bible says.
Yeah.
And so they get it all. They're trying to skip everything and get to that, rather than truly be renewed from within.
Yes, it is a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another thing to get into, I think, for some people. It's another hobby, or it's another sort of intellectual exercise, or it, you know, gets them stimulated that way, and they go off in that, and that they're mistaking that kind of stimulation for I don't know, a religious experience.
Yeah, because they becomes like an intellectual stimulation, like you said, and then they just quote unquote fellowship with each other, and then bash the other people and get into arguments with other people. And it's all like bashing and thumping and pride and empty.
Whenever people like approach me with certain questions, I usually just tell them I don't know what I think, so that I don't get sucked into that.
Fair enough. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to even bother talking with.
Yeah, I have no opinion about like this, that, or the other, or when it comes to theology, because it's just, I see it as a distraction a lot of the time from our relationship with God, which is what really matters. It doesn't matter what we're calling it or
True.
how we're thinking about it. It's supposed to be, a relationship like you have with another person or, your environment. It's another, it's like that. I don't know.
Nice.
I'm expressing that well or in a way that's understood, but that's how I see it.
Cool. So we were talking about different whites. At first you were hurt. You were hurt that I said Irish are not normal white. And I didn't even know you were Irish. I didn't even know you existed.
You didn't know who I was. I was just watching your show and I was like, I'm not in the club. I'm not a wasp.
I know.
I'm not welcome. Oh, God. But I get it because and then different people came into the U.S. at different times as well. So, I mean, there were some Irish that were here pretty early on, but...
True.
There were different waves of migration, and depending on when your European ancestors came here, you will have a different experience of the country and...
Yeah.
Different issues, and depending on where they came in too.
Right.
Well.
The group, different groups had different mindsets common among them, and I remember hearing our resident historian Asmodor talk about German immigrants. Some of them which came in like the year 46. I don't know if it was 1846 or 1946, and some of those were not the good kind of Germans, and then others were the good kind of Germans. And by good kind of Germans, it was like the mindset that was common to them and that was passed down from generation to generation. So, yeah, there's been it feels like our country, and really this is, I think, the world in general for all time, has been subverted. There's been a subversive element from the very beginning. Just like, I guess, in the garden, there was the serpent subverting the woman and the man. The woman, and by her, the man.
So now we're talking about which types of whites are subversive? Is that where we're going with this?
Well, I just brought that part up because there's different types of, like what you said about different types of whites who've come into the country. But not necessarily. What was your point that you wanted to bring up about the normal whites and different types of whites?
Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about it, kind of examining, like you've mentioned in the last call, how some really hold on to their country of origin, that identity. Like I definitely grew up understanding that we were Irish, and there was a lot of Irish culture being indoctrinated, into me. And it definitely had an influence, and I definitely think, just based on what I've seen and seen from like Irish Americans, they tend to be pretty rebellious.
Yeah.
And and a lot of them are attracted to, like, I don't know, I was attracted to radical politics. I think that might have something to do with like my ancestry as well.
Wow.
I don't think it's not. So yeah, you do. Maybe I'm wondering, maybe there's definitely something to this,
Yeah.
Not normal white thing. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not like a normal white. Just kind of putting it together. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we are a bit shifty. You can't really trust us, can you? Like.
That's funny. And on the outside, on a surface level, I think it's kind of cool that the Irish are all being into Irish. And like when Sean was here, I would kind of kiss up to his Irishness and stuff. But I would also kind of have downplay it. I would also not downplay it. I would also like make fun of it and like, is he a normal white and stuff like that. But there's like it's fun. But you're right. It is interesting. Is Macklemore Irish? That rapper guy he did a pro-gay song. He did this pro-gay song, and now he did this pro-Palestine song. I think he's Irish.
How embarrassing.
I
Although
know.
the Irish are very pro-Palestine. This is the other thing.
But the Irish
Ireland's
in
a mess.
Ireland, some of them are tough. So the fighting Irish, they'll fight for good or fight for evil. And sometimes...
Yes, they're very hardy people. You have to be to live in that kind of climate, and, under those kind of conditions.
Yeah.
I think, too, like, the Irish, have a lot of, they have a big chip on their shoulder about, like, colonization. So they feel this kind of natural pang of sympathy or empathy towards, like, other perceived victim groups. There's this, like, victim mentality within the Irish because, the oppression of the English upon them. So I think that drives a lot of it. And it's this, I don't know.
Interesting.
I grew up, my dad hated the English. It was really interesting. Like, we live in America, and he didn't have much prejudice, but every now and then that would, like, come out like this weird,
unexpected ways. Wow. Well, I mean, they
are different. They are different kind of stock, though. Like, are all European, but, like, the Irish are different. They just settled in different times. And the modern English they're French and German. They're not, the original inhabitants even of those islands.
Wow. That is so interesting. So you can sympathize now. You can understand. You can have an understanding, maybe you already did, of the radical whites the radical whites, I'll call them, the Nazis and their ilk. The purists, the crazy.
The purists, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me. I don't know if I have a sympathy for them.
Not a sympathy, but an I don't advocate for people to be sympathetic, but just to have understanding. So. Yeah,
I have been thinking. I want to bring it too because I've been thinking about this just in terms of Mark and people like.
Right.
Have been very critical about me, like coming to me like, "Why are you so hard on Mark?" And then, like all of this. I'm like, I'm not even that hard on him. Like I don't know, but I've been thinking about it, like trying to see things from his perspective and analyze, what his white identity is and. I don't know his background when his family came.
He's Irish.
No. Okay, he's Irish.
Yeah, he said he's Irish, but he said that most of the American Nazi Party or whatever they were Irish.
Yeah.
Or many of them.
My mother told me that, like one of her uncles who was Irish, and they're recent immigrants. They moved here in the last century. Like he joined the Bund or something, like some group like that, some sort of fascist group in the 30s.
Crazy.
So
yeah,
I know. I don't know what's wrong with
isn't that wild that
crazy.
we normal whites? I'm just like an Anglo, part Scottish, part Danish, part German, part whatever, and I'm not really into the race thing. I've gotten familiar with it. I joke around about it a lot, and I play around. But we normal whites get blamed when a lot of the times the most radical and outspoken and offensive of the whites are like Jewish people who are radical right-wingers and Irish people and stuff like that. And we normal whites are just getting blamed for it. I feel like.
I know, you are very a lot more quiet and reserved, slow to speak. But I think, there's certain elements within the European stock that are a bit more, they pop off at the mouth a little bit more.
Yeah.
They're more passionate.
Lin Yan Chin says that they lowered the T or something like that, the testosterone levels, or they lowered the killer instinct of my race, the stock that I'm from. So I don't have that brutal spirit, and sometimes I need it more, whereas you guys have
let
it.
Him talk to you like that?
What's that?
You're going to let him talk to you like that?
He's said some interesting things to me. But it's interesting. We are influenced in ways that we have no idea from even from our blood and from our upbringing.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, and so I'm smoking on this, what's up with the white people? Like, what's going on? Let's look at them.
It shows you, too, not to judge the people who are caught up in the radical politics and the evil stuff or whatever, or the weak people, because they just can't help it. They haven't overcome their upbringing, really. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't help it. People really can't help it.
No.
Nice. Well, it's great talking with you, Terry. Call me again sometime.
Yeah, I may do. Okay.
All right. Appreciate
Bye.
it. Bye. 20 minutes with an Irish. Hope Mark is happy. Terry the strange one, Mark in Los Angeles calls her. And she's trying to understand Mark. Maybe Mark is going to understand Terry now. Can we all just get along? Yes. I got to get to Jaime in Minnesota, who's been on hold for quite some time. Jaime, thanks for calling and holding. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
Hey, what's with the Irish women?
I don't know.
What a mess.
They're a mess?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I know. Is it true that if you listen to the woman, you suffer?
God said it. It's in the Bible. God said it. That settles it. I believe it. That settles it. I think that you can maybe hear him out, I guess. You can hear him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody knows that Adam was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, beautiful man.
Really? Everybody knows that?
I know that.
I may have known that, but I must have forgotten it because I don't remember knowing that.
I saw it in a painting in the Catholic Church.
Oh, really? Blonde? When you guys, a lot of you're part like Hispanic. You're like full-blown Americanized, but you're part Hispanic by blood. Is that correct?
Spaniard.
Accurate?
Yeah. Spaniard.
Spaniard. Oh, okay. So you're not even south. You're not even south of the border at all, huh? Your ancestry.
No.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay, so what were we just talking about? Oh, blonde. You guys say blonde-haired. Are there any blonde-haired Spaniards?
I don't know.
Okay,
But,
so Spaniards are normally like black-haired or dark brown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some of you guys say blonde-haired. I've never seen a blonde-haired Jesus, but it is sort of light brown. Sort of light brown.
Jesus, everybody knows he was brown-eyed, brown-haired, and white.
Okay, nice.
I saw that in a picture, too.
Right on. And so in the Catholic Church, was Adam literally like yellow hair, blonde hair? Or was it...
With the halo. There's a halo on him, too.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I'm glad you put that guy straight.
Oh, cool.
He
Yeah.
had the wrong idea.
Yeah, I didn't want to let that slide too long because I like the guy. He means really well. He wants to like pray for everybody, but he's on a kick that I think is on the wrong track. So I don't know if I'll be able to get through to him, but at least I let him know, and we like each other still.
Send him some propaganda.
What type of propaganda shall I send him?
Probably cartoons.
Cartoons?
Comic strips. Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you some more about the propaganda. What I heard back in the First World War, the German and the English, the English, they would fly airplanes over the German, where the Germans and Austrians were.
Yeah.
And they would drop leaflets. And the leaflets would be like, hey, we don't want to fight you guys. We're really mad at the Kaiser.
Oh, yeah.
We're upset with the president. We're gonna take it out on him, but you guys just quit. And then they'd send them. They drop letters in whatever language, their German language, and it'd be like a wife talking to their husband in the war, saying, "Oh, please come home, and we have nothing to eat."
Right.
And that was the kind of propaganda. And there were some people that would laugh at it and be like, yeah, whatever. But you never know. There were a few weak-minded people that bought it.
Yeah.
But also, I heard about some propaganda.
So it was false.
That
was it false propaganda?
Well, it came from the English.
Just because it came from the English never lie, do they?
Only in times of war.
Oh, true.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, anyways.
Okay, interesting.
So before the war, the German people, the Bavarians, their propagandists, their state, they made the English out to look weak.
Oh,
like
wow.
To be easy to beat.
Yeah.
So, allegedly the German soldiers went out there thinking that they were going to fight weaklings. And when they got into the fight, it turned out they were a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And
so that backfired. That's not good propaganda.
Right. That was bad propaganda on the Austrian, Bavarian, German side.
Mm.
And it was a disservice to them.
Yeah.
Whereas allegedly on the English side, they made the Axis, they ended up being the Axis powers, right?
Yeah.
Look like beasts, like that they would tear you apart.
Right.
And so that trained those soldiers, that propagandized the English soldiers to be on their guard, be at their best at all times, and to be ruthless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. You don't underestimate your opponent.
Right. What do you think of that?
I love it. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Poor Germans.
So well, either or, it's it's something that happened. Doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
But what matters is the propaganda today. What are we seeing? What's well, and there's different types of propaganda. There's propaganda for the lower thinking people. The lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, there are people that just don't put a whole lot of thought into what they read or learn or anything. So you got your cartoons and your comic strips. And, those are people who read those, and
I used to love those.
Then, yeah. So you can use that. Then you got your higher levels of thinking, like your soap operas.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of time, and they're not super deep or anything, but you got to watch them. Like I was thinking about what you were saying yesterday about those cop shows. They're kind of like operas, They make the white man out to be the bad guy.
Right.
Like he does all the crimes that other races do.
Yeah.
And you get done with work at 7:00. You used to, not anymore because you got YouTube and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You used to, sit in the living room after dinner and watch Miami Blues, or what's the other one? SVU.
Oh yeah, one of those SVU had to do with like one of the crime unit.
Yeah, special victims unit.
Okay, yeah.
And they'd always show the woman, the white woman getting beat up by the white man, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd be fair, but not very fair.
Right. Yep.
That's propaganda.
True.
But then you get the higher levels of propaganda to brainwash what's called the bourgeoisie. You ever hear that word?
I have heard that word. I learned it, and now I've forgotten what it was.
It's a fancy $10 word, I tell you what.
Yeah. It's a communist.
So the bourgeoisie are people that like to read a lot, spend a lot of time reading.
Oh, yeah. The Reddit bros.
They got the lawyers who got nothing to do all day but to read lawyer books and all this.
Yeah.
Reading. So and it's like books. If you've ever read that Obama book, Something of My Father, what is it?
Yes.
Lessons?
Dreams of My Father or something like that?
Yeah. That's like a bourgeoisie book.
Okay.
It's like, who's got $50 to, when it first came out?
Yeah.
To buy some paperweight. Some bogus guy. Except if you got $50 and your husband's a dentist or something, or,
Yeah. Huh.
So you read all that and you swallow all that propaganda, the upper echelon people, and they accept it.
Yeah.
Whereas, low-level guys who, plumbers and mechanics and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They read the funnies, the funnies in the paper.
And sometimes those people are less susceptible to the level of propaganda that infects the so-called educated.
Allegedly.
Uh-huh.
Now, take this with what you've seen in reality. It doesn't matter what position, what job, or what class level you are. That doesn't determine how susceptible you are to propaganda. Supposedly.
Supposedly. I mean, I can understand that because everybody's...
Like if you're a low-level person, that doesn't make you any more or less susceptible to propaganda than if you were a higher-level lawyer type
Maybe
person.
you're just exposed to less because the people who are highly educated have swallowed so much propaganda. They're the ones who are the most likely to accept the gay agenda propaganda, for example, or the anti-racism or feminism propaganda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's probably because of the amount of exposure that they've swallowed. But the other people haven't been propagandized as much. They would be subject to the propaganda. I think there's some truth to that. Yeah. I mean, because it really comes down to the heart and how evil your heart is and whether you can see or not.
Well, supposedly, now this is what I heard, okay?
Uh-huh.
I heard that there are three types of people when it comes to information and propaganda,
Okay.
There's the person that will believe everything that they read. Always.
Uh-huh.
They will always believe it.
That's me.
Then there's a second type of person who never believes anything that they read.
Nice. That's JLP.
And supposedly the people that don't believe it anymore have been burned, by some propaganda, and then
Yeah.
it wasn't right, and now they don't believe anything.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the conspiracy theorists. Some of those medical conspiracy theorists. If you've ever met some of them and talked to them, you might find out some of them have had some medical stuff going on.
Right.
And the doctors did them wrong, or maybe they perceived that the doctors did them wrong, or they perceived that the bills were wrong, or whatever. And now they don't believe anything medical.
Right.
So that's wrong.
Yep.
Both types are wrong. Those two types are wrong. Then you got this third type who reads and researches for themselves, whether or not this is a useful thing or not. Is this useful? Is this not useful?
Okay.
And if this idea is useful, is it true? And that takes a lot of time and effort, to do.
Or you just leave it as I don't know, because there's some people who there are some people who just don't see the value in even researching.
Okay, so there's four types of people.
Well, no, okay, maybe you're right. There's believers, disbelievers, researchers, and wait and seers.
Wait and see. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Why? Well, nice message.
Okay.
It's good to hear from you,
Yeah,
Jaime, Minnesota. You too. Take care. Bye. Man, come on, man. Is bashing me, calling it another boring call. He was calling TERRI boring. He was calling Jaime boring. I'm not bored. How are you guys bored? Lisa in the chat was like, not to be anti-woman. I hate to trash the female, but this is boring as heck. What's up with you guys? Just because it's not low-brow, fiery, calling each other racist and stuff, doesn't mean that it's boring. Somebody said what's even worse is that Hake is sporting a neck beard today. Yeah, I know. I've been thinking that I ought to trim it down a little bit, but I like to have it. Ever since I saw who's that guy who died? He said that every now and then you should slap a woman who won't drop it. See, Connor, yes. What? Say it again out loud or whatever. Sean Connery. Thank you, Hassan. Sean Connery. I saw he was hairy on his back of his neck. Rest in peace. Where's Sean Connery now? He's in me. In my hair, on my neck. Anyway, yeah. They're obviously looking for a thrill to 555-555-565. Who, my callers or my listeners? Because my callers, who may be boring, but it's not boring to them or to me, maybe we're looking for a thrill, and I don't know. But yes. Well, thank you guys for bearing with me. I will get to your super chats. So let's get to some super chats. And then I'll get to Daniel in Texas coming up next. And then Joe in Phoenix and the rest of the callers. Hang tight. You can call in. There's one line open. Over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Popcorn Stump Cake bought that coffee that I owe him to read. David in Ocala yesterday, he called, illustrated the phrase, a hit dog will holler. A hit dog will holler. Joe from Phoenix made a point about someone not having a degree. Oh, you don't have a degree. And David in Ocala says, well, I bet Joe can't take apart a motor. To your credit, Hake, you did quietly go, how do you know that? I'm like, how do you know that? I'm like, how do you know that? I didn't want to offend David anymore. People with degrees are dumb until it's time to have surgery, just as an example. Well, I have a degree and you don't want surgery from me. That's why Joe denigrates my degree. And so does Evil is Still Real. My 5-year art degree with an emphasis in graphic design from a Christian college that I wanted to be able to commute to. On another note, to be clear, Mark did reiterate that he is for separation of the races. I made a point about that one time before, and you said I was speculating about him having said that. Oh. I don't remember accusing you of speculating about that. But okay, thank you. I accept if I was wrong. Or maybe you misunderstood something that I said, or maybe I was wrong, whatever. We're clear now. And you said I was speculating. Well, he just cleared it up today. So Mark may respect or love JLP and William, but in Mark's world, they couldn't live next door to him. Oh. I mean, all black neighbors are not equal. Interesting. Thank you, Popcorn Stumpcake. Are you for race-based separation, physical, Hake, as Mark is? Yes. Maybe not exactly as Mark is, because Mark may be for forced separation, which may be more manly than I am. I'm for freedom to separate or not separate. And I get that individuals may get left out, because individuals may want to live next to a white, and these whites don't want you to live next to them. And so, and I get the taxpayer problem. You brought up the taxpayer problem, Popcorn Stump Keg, and maybe we have to localize stuff and make people be self-sufficient. It's an interesting dilemma, for sure, yeah. People. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Lastly, Mark said that Joe was probably recording the show and reporting it. Is there any proof of that, or is he getting into the imagination/speculating? Oh, definitely Mark, I think, speculates. Although he has lived longer than you or I, so he may know how these people operate. But I have caught him speculating and saying stuff that he doesn't know to be true. And he'll admit that he doesn't know to be true, but he'll still assert that he believes it to be true. And I find that ill-advised. So I'm with you somewhat on that, Mr. Computer Scientist AI, or Mrs. Computer Scientist AI, or whatever you are. Thank you, Popcorn Stump Cake. That was a pretty friendly one. A hit dog will holler. Are you speculating that David in Ocala doesn't have a degree? I don't know if he had his degree or not. But I do find it interesting. Don't you find it interesting, though, Popcorn Stump Cake, that Joe in Phoenix thinks that he debunked Bigg Bump's point about old school whites didn't used to see blacks with their pants sagging, and then he says most blacks are in the middle class now, with some statistic, some thing that proves it supposedly. And that, what does that have to do with seeing blacks sagging their pants? But he thinks that he has critical thinking. Forget that. Forget I said that. that's certainly not clear or logical thinking to think that he debunked what Bigg Bump said by bringing up how many black men are in the middle class. That's crazy thinking. And oftentimes I will make a general statement. You're a computer scientist. Let me bring this up, and then I will get to calls. Quickly. Say, this mic is golden. This mic is golden. This mic is not golden, and this mic that's connected to this thing is not golden. I can say mics are golden. And actually, if you count all the mics in this room, there's 4 golden mics and 1, 2, 3, 4 non-golden mics. And there's a mic here and a mic here and a mic here on these cameras. They're not golden. But 4 out of 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 out of 12 mics are golden. I can say mics are golden. That's a factual statement. It doesn't mean all mics are golden. It doesn't even mean most mics are golden. It just says that mics are golden. Some mics are not golden. Mics as in microphones. They're not even real mics, but whatever. It's an accurate statement to say black's a criminal. It's also an accurate statement to say, I presume, blacks are law-abiding. Because there are blacks who are criminal, and there are blacks who are law-abiding. It's an accurate, and if it's a remarkable amount of them that are law-abiding or that are criminal, it is a valid point to bring up. Blacks are criminal. It's just saying that there's a lot of blacks that are criminal. Like when Trump said they're rapists, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some I assume are good people. He didn't even have to say, and some I assume are good people, but he said it to be nice. It just means that there are a remarkable number of R-wordists. So, you as a computer scientist and a clear thinker, I'm being gracious, must surely understand that. And that's something that doesn't seem to sink in with some of these other people, like maybe Joe. Anyway, thank you very kindly, Popcorn Thumpkeg, for your super chat. Daniel in Texas is on the line here. Daniel in Texas, how you doing? I'll get to the rest of the super chats later. What's up, Daniel?
Hi, James. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of I guess I want to ask you about youth and the importance of youth. You know, what do you think of the importance of youth?
I think youth is important, and young people matter. I don't understand. I don't exactly understand. Youth being like my youth, don't waste my youth, stuff like that, or young people.
It seems to me to be the most valuable thing, period.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, your youth, when you lose it, when you lose your youth, you lose something valuable.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on with a lot of the irate callers, no matter who they are, to include myself. I can't get over a loss of youth. And every day you feel your mortality because of it.
Yeah. Interesting, man. I like this. Yeah, and I feel that losing it is an opportunity to get wiser, though. Because sometimes you have to lose it before you get wiser. It's good to wise up in your youth, but losing it is your chance to appreciate, have more understanding, pause, stuff like that.
Well, you can have all of my wisdom, James.
You want your youth back? What happened? Did you lose your hair or something? What did you lose? You lost your mobility? You lost your tea? I
I lost another day. You know, every day is just another scar of, you know.
It's interesting, man. You know what's funny is there are people who die young, but there are people who get old, and really old. And when I say old, I mean like 90s, hundreds. I think that's valid to say that that's old. Even like 70s, 80s, that's pretty old. 60s, it's actually pretty old. Even 40s is pretty old. Not compared to them, they still look down on me as youthful, and I have some youth, a little bit of youth in me. I'm no spring chicken, but yeah, it's interesting, huh?
Yeah, because what ends up happening with all your wisdom and your dwindling youth, therefore your dwindling vigor, is you become a Don Quixote of sorts. That you want to fight these perceived demons that only exist in your imagination because you've lost your youth.
Yeah, interesting.
So Mark, I'm calling you out.
Oh, wow.
Don Quixote.
Don Quixote, he was this guy in this Spanish tale, right? Spanish language at least, right? I think. Who told like tall tales about himself, and he was wild and crazy and funny and a little, right? Is that accurate? What is Don Quixote in a sentence?
Don Quixote was a man who he read a lot, and he didn't really pursue his youth, and he decided to reclaim his youth by becoming a knight.
Oh, but he was an old, crotchety, skinny man.
He's an old guy that had lived in his imagination throughout his whole youth.
Yeah.
And now he wants to have all the titles of knighthood. He wants to conquer giants and basically all the things that he read about. Now he is going to actively seek into the world, and he's gone mad because these things don't exist. Giants don't exist. Dragons aren't real. But that's what he goes and does.
Whoa! So he had a midlife crisis or an old life crisis.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Because Joe is not as
he's not this dragon that you must slay.
Yeah, he's not this dragon. He's not this. That's the communist that's destroying the. Joe, do you have that kind of power? Tell me honestly. Do you have that kind of power?
He's a Fed. He's going to take down the Hake report.
He's recording all your shows. You're recording all your shows, James.
Indeed, I am.
You betrayed yourself.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Interesting point. Fair warning to our friend Mark. And you're on Mark's side pretty much, right? I would imagine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with him.
Yeah.
But I disagree that Joe is this. That Joe is this, absolute heathen that's destroying the country. Joe's just Joe. That's all Joe is.
Indeed. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And Joe is a bit of a Don Quixote himself because he's like,
yes, he is.
He toots his own horn a bit and acts all important. Yeah. Interesting, man. Great call.
So that's what it's all about youth.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's all about youth. Because if this was, I don't know, 20-year-olds on spring break in Cancun, they wouldn't be calling you.
True. Yeah. They'd be like, I know, the stuff that people get caught up in. I thought about how I would get all caught up in politics. And my friends who are not into politics would look at me like I was crazy because I was crazy or am crazy, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with life. It's just a pastime, basically like in my imagination. Mark and Joe in their imaginations.
Yeah.
Nice, man. I appreciate that point. Great call.
And that's what flatterers are. Don Quixote had a servant, I think his name was Pancho or something, and his servant basically abided by Don Quixote, all of his imaginings. He just went along with it, because he just wanted a friend. He saw Don Quixote as a guy that would be a good friend, so he just went along with his imagining.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a whole lot of friends and fiends. Hassan says a lot more kids care about this stuff now due to streaming and internet. And so a whole lot of people are caught up in stuff that doesn't matter, really.
Yeah.
Or that matters, but they have no say over what goes on. It's funny that we are arguing about stuff that we think, and we have no influence really on the world and how the world is and how the world should be at all. But we're arguing about it and hating each other over it. And it's of zero consequence, except to put us into hell and be devils fighting amongst each other.
Yes, and here I am listening to a podcast where people talk about what Adam was doing that likely can't even remember what they had for breakfast.
Yeah. Nice.
Great.
Great point, man. Good call. Appreciate you, Daniel, in Texas, man.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye. Man. I promise, Joe. Joe in Phoenix, Arizona. You have a minute. Let's hear it.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I was going to talk about Trump, but I think it was Jeff from Louisiana. I've never said a single thing against white people ever, so let me be clear. I love white people. I am a Christian. I don't want anything bad to happen to any people. I absolutely love white people. My wife is white. My kids are half white. My in-laws are white. I love white people. I can't be any more clear about that.
You love Mark?
As a Christian, I have to, yes. But
How come you have to qualify
evil in him? No.
Okay.
Bigg Bump. My point, James, is that when Bigg Bump started talking about black men, the image that jumped to his head was the saggy pants ghetto thug. That's my point.
Oh, but that's just... Okay, I follow that. Can I jump in and say, but that's you jumping to conclusions about what you think that he's thinking, rather than dealing with what he said.
No, I dealt with what he said. When he started talking about black men, the image that jumped into his mind was the ghetto sagging pants thug.
I don't remember him saying that.
No.
I remember him talking about older white guys didn't used to see these blacks acting this way and looking this way and dressing this way.
This is what I meant when I said representation matters. There's no surprise he had no clue that 64% of black men are now in the middle class. And no, James, when you're in the middle class, you're not out there being a ghetto thug with your pants sagging.
I didn't think either way about how many are in the middle class or not in the middle class, because I don't respect the middle class blacks either in terms of the way that they think. I respect them as human beings, I guess, if I respect anybody, right? But they're just dumb liberals themselves. No, but I'm talking about in general. They're more liberal per capita. They believe in the racism mess. So it's...
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we got to go. It's good talking with you. Take care. Bye. This snake's vocal fry is unbearable, says, come on, man. Terrible. I don't think I have much time, but I feel like I should do... let's look at one of these alt break songs. I guess we'll do Ain't No Monkeys in My Family Tree. It's kind of fun, right? Yeah? All right, guys. Rest of your super chats, I got some today. Renesio, yours did get through. I got to end, though. Joel Friday coming up next. Ain't No Monkeys in My Family Tree. Bye.
Well, there's monkeys in the jungle, there's monkeys in the zoo. They even got monkeys in some of our schools. They tell us that God didn't make the world in 7 days. They want us to believe that we evolved from the apes. Well, I don't know about them, but I know about me. And there ain't no monkeys in my family tree. The monkeys in the vines, and you'll see them up in trees. You can even see them right there on the TV. They claim that Jonah never lived in the belly of a whale, that our ancestors walked around dragging their tails. I don't know about them, but I know about me. There ain't no monkeys in my family tree. When you see some monkeys, they look kinda cute, but not when they're wearing a tie and a suit. Big book of lines and a fancy degree, trying to make them monkey out of me. No, no, no.
This dude owns you, James.
Well, some monkeys are honest and some
Joe
monkeys are
owns me.
crooks. Some of those monkeys even write dishonest monkey books. They'll say that Jesus' miracles never did occur and that our ancestors were covered in fur. I don't know about them, but I know about me.
I gotta go, guys.
There ain't no monkeys in my family tree. No, there ain't no monkeys in my family tree.